Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Paws Up preview show for FIU football as they take on the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders. Let me make sure I got everything. Yeah, there you go. I am Jake Gibson. Kevin Barral will be with us in a few minutes. He is heading back from calling today's game 2 of the Blue and Gold FIU Baseball World Series Best of 3 event at the FIU baseball field. Did a great job calling it with a good friend of the show, Carlton Gillespie. And to everyone who watched it on either Twitter or YouTube, can't thank you enough. It was a very fun broadcast. I know he had a lot of fun with it, but he's head back home, and he'll be with us as soon as he gets back. So let's get right into it, man. A big game today for FIU football. There's only 3 games left in the season for the Panthers. If they want to get into a bowl game, it's the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders today at 3:30. Can be seen on ESPN Plus. It's on the road in Murfreesboro. After that, they take on the University of Arkansas, and then they close out the season at home against the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. So there's a lot to be excited for a game like this. I think the records speak for themselves. Middle Tennessee is, let me pull them up. Middle Tennessee is 2-6. That should say 2-7. But yeah, the Blue Raiders are 2-7. They are coming off a rough couple of games where they've given up a lot of points. However, they did keep it close against New Mexico State. They still fell in the end. But the Panthers, regardless of however we have felt about their offense and about their defense, they have a 4-5 record, right? This is the same predicament that they found themselves in last year at this exact same week of the college football season. So they have 3 chances to do better than how they did last year, and I think the best chance they have of winning a game in these next 3 games, funny enough, is this contest against the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders. So especially they had the week off, right? They had lost to the Jacksonville State Gamecocks by a score of 41-16 2 weeks ago. That was their retro Sunblazer night, and did not go well, right? But there's always room for improvement, and they had a week off to recuperate, to come back from injuries, to do all of that kind of stuff. So it's exciting, right? It's super exciting. There's been a lot of speculation, of course, about starting quarterback position because, of course, at the end of that Jacksonville State game, and we'll talk a bit more about this when Kevin gets here, but at the end of the Jacksonville State game, they swapped out Kewan Jenkins for Grayson James, and for the second half. And Grayson actually played well, scored 2 touchdowns, and got the FIU Panthers relatively close. However, they at the end of the day, the defense gave up 21 points in the first half. Let me put this up right here. There we go. Recapping Jacksonville State. Visited town a couple weeks ago. And they scored 21 unanswered to begin the first quarter, and just like in the UTEP game, FIU had to crawl their way back into it, and just like in the UTEP game, they didn't. So tough loss for the Panthers. I know a lot of eyes are on that one fateful missed penalty, which was a fair catch penalty called on FIU when a Jacksonville State return man muffed a punt. The ball went loose. FIU recovered on it. That was after they had scored their 2 touchdowns, so they had all the momentum, all the hype in the crowd and all that. And the referees ruled that prior to completing the fair catch, the return man was touched, which is not allowed. However, looking back at the replay on the ESPN Plus broadcast, didn't look like that at all. So, super tough break for the Panthers. But regardless, point the fingers all you want. It's obviously not all on that play because, like I said, 21 points to begin a game. You're not setting yourself up for success down the road. So they have a lot to learn. And Kevin attended the press conference a few days after the game where he had talked with head coach Mike McIntyre about the quarterback situation. And Mike McIntyre essentially told him that, yes, Jenkins is going to get the nod. He will start today for FIU. They'll see how the game progresses. If they need to put in James or another quarterback, they will do that if they have to. But they're going to give the keys to Grayson, like the lights out man, And I think it's a good decision. Jenkins has been the quarterback the entire season. He had, of course, had that phenomenal game against North Texas, but hasn't found that level of offense this season yet, and it's a little frustrating because it's not all his fault. I still think a lot of the play calling and these recent games have a lot to be desired. Some very predictable screen passes against Sam Houston State, the draw plays on 1st and 10 that barely get any yards, and it sucks. But at the same time, yes, there have also been some dropped passes, some deep connections from Jenkins to wide receiver Chris Mitchell that we saw earlier in the season. It was like clockwork, and now it's just not happening as much. And yeah, it's frustrating to watch because we've seen this offense at pretty much at their peak, and it was great looking, and we haven't really gotten there yet against conference opponents. FIU and Middle Tennessee, funnily enough, has lost 4 of their last 5 games. Let me pull up the schedule right now just to confirm. Yeah, so in the last 5 games, they have lost to Liberty 38-6. That was at home. New Mexico State 34-17. That was on the road. And then UTEP 27-14. That was at the home on Vice Night. And again, just like the Jack State game, they gave up 21 points. They had that double overtime win over Sam Houston State on the road, which was a very exciting finish. But again, they squeaked by with against at the time winless team. We'll talk more about that later for Conference USA predictions. But they squeaked by them, which was great. However, they again laid an egg against Jacksonville State, falling 41-16. And today they take on the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders, one of the more veteran teams from Conference USA, along with FIU and, of course, Western Kentucky, Louisiana Tech, those kinds of schools. The Panthers have historically not done great against Middle Tennessee, man. They, I believe they have won 13 of the 19 total meetings with FIU, including the last 4. I believe FIU's last win against the Blue Raiders came in 2018. So even worse than that, they're 1-8 against Middle Tennessee, specifically when they play at Floyd Stadium in Murfreesboro, which Murfreesboro, I believe it is south of Nashville, right? They're 1-8. So, of course, there's a lot more storylines than just that. And I'm not the biggest believer in the history repeats itself sort of thing in college football, where previous historical records against a team have really an impact because the teams themselves are drastically different, such is the case in this matchup between FIU and Middle Tennessee. But it's not a good omen. And I believe this will be Mike McIntyre's first time at Middle Tennessee, specifically as the head coach of FIU. Of course, McIntyre, no stranger to the state, as he was the coordinator at the University of Memphis prior to getting the job at FIU. Going back to the Jacksonville State game a bit, let me read out some statistics to give you guys a clue as to how how that game played out. And early on in the game, we felt like there was going to be no shot that FIU would come back and even smell a possible upset, and they somewhat did in the third quarter, but in the fourth quarter, following that muffed punt penalty, things just kind of spiraled out of control, unfortunately. Okay. I think my audio just got improved a little bit. I was on my speakers for audio. Now it's just swapped over to the microphone, so that's a bit strange, but getting back on track here. Grayson James, 12 for 20, 200 yards and a touchdown. Very solid numbers considering he had only played one half of football. Looking more at the team stats, though, I think the biggest difference in success between Jacksonville State and the Panthers had to have been their rushing yards difference. Jacksonville State, which, again, a dual-threat quarterback system with Zion Webb, being as great a passer as he is a runner, they ran for 265 yards. That was more than double their total passing compared to FIU, who only managed 31 total yards on offense, which is, you're not going to win football games doing that. Granted, FIU's passing attack was all right, actually doubling Jacksonville State, 218 compared to 105. But at the end of the day, Jacksonville State controlled the ball. They had success running the ball. And, of course, when an offense in football has success running the ball all day, what does it also do? It keeps the defense gassed, dominates the time of possession, though funnily enough, FIU actually ended up with 3 more minutes with the ball on offense than Jacksonville State, which is, a bit surprising. But 22 first downs for Jacksonville State compared to 12 for FIU. Oh, and he is here. Kevin Barral. How are we doing?
All right, we're doing good.
We're doing good?
Doing good.
All right.
Kevin Barral.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, how was it? Of course, very high-scoring game for what we were able to see. Just how was the experience calling that game with Carlton?
It was fun, man. Carlton and I are going to likely call most of the games this season for FIU baseball. And today we're able to see a pretty good glimpse of, what the team looks like. A lot of power, and that'll be for podcast another day. Today we're previewing what is a must-win game for FIU, taking on, as Jake mentioned, the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders. Blue Raiders coming off a tough loss against New Mexico State, where they only allowed 1 touchdown, but still lost 2 field goals at the end, allowing New Mexico State essentially to clinch the bowl game and likely a spot in the Conference USA Championship game against the undefeated Liberty Flames. This is a very good Middle Tennessee team. We won't talk too much about it now because I'm sure you're just talking about Jack State.
Yeah, so, we're on the topic of Jacksonville State and how they just kind of tortured FIU on the run game. They pretty much defined the game by how great their dual-threat quarterback system was with Webb. And like I said, 265 yards compared to 31. Just, Kevin, what is it with this FIU defense that when they take on these running-based teams, they drop the ball. They drop the ball sometimes.
Yeah, it's just a tough overall scene for FIU defensively, one going up against a run. Right now, I'm trying to find the ranking what it is, but thankfully FIU kind of gets a break this tonight against this afternoon. I'm sorry, against a Liberty team that doesn't run the ball as much.
Middle Tennessee.
What did I say?
You said Liberty, dog. Liberty's already clinched.
Liberty's still really good at running the ball, so.
Liberty's taking on ODU right now, former Conference USA team. We'll get to that in predictions. I have not purposely not checked the score for that game for predictions. Just keeping it.
Anyways. Yeah, man. FIU today is they're actually at an advantage today, big advantage for the Panthers going up against a Middle Tennessee team, which although they are one of the better ranked offenses and they are the 4th best scoring offense in Conference USA. You look a little lower, and they are actually the 4th worst rushing offense in Conference USA, and that helps out FIU League a lot, and I think you would agree with that, Jake. And then pass offense, they're the 2nd best pass offense, but FIU is one of the best passing defenses in Conference USA. So
yes,
FIU is at an advantage today. If I'm looking at the stats correctly, pass offense, Middle Tennessee stands at almost the top, but Middle Tennessee is one of the worst defenses when going up against the pass. So FIU right now ranking at number 5, the 5th best pass offense in CUSA. So FIU is kind of at an advantage here tonight. Definitely Nick Vattiato, the Italian Miami product, plantation product for Miami. Wonder if he was recruited by FIU. Actually, now I'm thinking about it, but definitely someone who's not a dual threat quarterback. He can definitely run the ball if he needs to, but kind of reminds me like a Grayson James-esque quarterback, where if he has to run, he will. But aside from that, FIU is at a good advantage today, and you got to feel pretty good. Their offense is out without 2 offensive linemen. We'll not mention why. John Bach, we don't know why he's out. Jacob Peace will not mention why he is out, but Peace is no longer playing for the season. He's out for the year, so that is a huge loss for FIU. And John Bach did not travel with the team.
So you had talked a bit about Grayson James. So let me ask you, Kevin. You yourself had asked Mike McIntyre about either James or Jenkins getting the nod. I believe it's you. Maybe it was it was Walter. Okay. Yeah, and he had essentially said that Jenkins is going to get the start today against Middle Tennessee. Do you like the decision? Do you like going back to Jenkins, or do you feel like Grayson coming off that high in the second half against Jacksonville State would he have been as successful today against the Blue Raiders?
Yeah, I think the way you got to put it is like this. Look, Kewan has worked his way to be the starter. This is Coach Mac's recruit. Grayson James was a Butch Davis guy. They gave Grayson the go for a full season. He was pretty good. He struggled against La Tech. He was benched for Kewan eventually. I think Kewan Jenkins has the right to start, and I think he should be on a short leash, a very short one. You cannot afford to lose this game. If Kewan goes out there and they start to struggle early on, you may have to switch back to Grayson. And I know they're trying to protect the red shirt for Grayson to see if he could actually keep that, I believe, just a red shirt year, essentially what it would be for him. But you want Grayson, if you want to win and your best intentions are to make a bowl game, you got to keep Kewan on a short leash. Now, look at the play calling difference. And I know you were mentioning this early on in the show, just the poor play calling for the most part. Look at the play calling with Kewan in the Jack State game compared to Grayson. Grayson was throwing the ball almost every other play. Kewan, for some reason, they were having him just throw quick hitches to the side and just wasn't getting much going there. Obviously, the run game, for the most part, has been all right with Shamari and Keyshawn Owens, which has been a pleasant surprise for FIU. But you need Kewan Jenkins to really just throw the ball, man. You need him to sling it downfield, just like we saw Grayson to Chris for that 60-yard bomb and eventually the touchdown, which was snag of the year for Chris Mitchell. So,
and as we found out from Johnny, a SportsCenter top 10 play, which was
number 6. Yeah,
number 6. That's great to hear. So, the biggest change that I think FIU needs to take into consideration for Middle Tennessee is having their defense do run heavy blitz on the quarterback and heavy stoppage on the run-based system early on in football games, because I think the biggest setback for FIU in that Jacksonville State game, it was not the fair catch interference call at the end. It was giving up 21 points unanswered at the first quarter, which, again, just like what we saw against that UTEP game, it's very hard. That's a very big deficit to come back from, man. It is. It's not easy, and if they even want to if they want to beat Middle Tennessee on the road, they have to be the aggressive team early on. They have to go to score the first touchdown or field goal of the game, and they have to go from there because they cannot let themselves get into a hole that big again.
Yeah, you can't have that happen, and I don't know why. It's funny, just coincidence. It happens on home games for FIU. Hasn't been a road game issue for the most part. Panthers have actually been pretty good on the road this season.
They have,
surprisingly enough, they beat UConn. They've beat Sam Houston on the road this year, and they were close to beating La Tech. So I'm excited
to see Mexico State. They had a shot in that too. Mexico State.
Man, the what if type of season. It's what it is for FIU. But anyways,
massive what if season.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens against New Mexico. Against Middle. Their running back is actually pretty good for the most part. So when they do go to him, it'll be definitely a shot. I believe it's Frank Peasant Jr., who their running back is for the Blue Raiders.
Yeah. So let's get to more of the Blue Raiders. We talked about Jacksonville State. Not a pretty game, but again, they had a week off to get ready for this, right? Hopefully by that time they thought up a great game plan against this Middle Tennessee team, which like I mentioned earlier, FIU does not have a great track record against, right? They are they've only won 6 games out of the 19 total meetings in history between this Middle Tennessee school, and they're 1-8 in Floyd Stadium all time. Middle Tennessee last year, I think they were really great. They ended the season with an 8-5 record, which included a win against FIU, 33-28. They beat San Diego State in the Hawaii Bowl, so a very phenomenal campaign last year. But they have had a rough season this year. Middle Tennessee has. They're 2-7, 1-4 in the conference. They lost 5 of their first 6 games of the season. They beat Louisiana Tech in October. That was a great win for them. But after that, they've lost their last 2 against Liberty and New Mexico State. You look all around the board, Kevin. I think Middle Tennessee is actually a very solid team in the grand scape of Conference USA. They just cannot find a way to win these football games. And I think they have the talent, but they just get run on late in the game, or in the case against New Mexico State, they just come up just short.
Yeah, it kind of feels like, just struggles, man. And they're a pretty good team for the most part, as you mentioned. They have a good quarterback. Their wide receiver core is really good. Just struggles on defense, really, for the most part. And they actually had a pretty good game against New Mexico State, only giving up that 1 touchdown. So I'm very intrigued to see what happens. They give up a lot of chunk plays for the most part, and we saw that against New Mexico with Diego Pavia, one of the best quarterbacks in CUSA right now, maybe the second best quarterback in Conference USA. So, I mean, I'm really interested to see how Q1 takes this and how David Yost, as offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, David Yost has prepped Q1 for this type of start and what the game plan looks like. You really should go pass heavy against this type of a team. They're a good defense when it comes to going up against the run, but against the pass, they're the second worst in Conference USA. So you need to take advantage of the pass. And man, if they don't, it's going to be a long night for FIU. And there is a former Panther currently on that team. I'm trying to see if I could find the name. Let me find Julius Pierce, former offensive lineman. He's now with Middle Tennessee. So nice to see that.
Funny enough, but let's talk about Nicholas Vadiato, right? He's thrown for 2,334 passing yards, which is the second most in Conference USA. 16 touchdowns as well, but 9 interceptions. He's also their second best rusher on the ground with 263 yards, 2 additional touchdowns on the ground. So, that game against Liberty, for example, he threw for 332 yards and 4 touchdowns. He had a stellar performance against Liberty, but I think the Achilles heel for Vatiato is that when he's had to play these tough opponents, Liberty, Jacksonville State, and Western Kentucky, he's susceptible to throwing the interception. He threw 2 picks in all those games, 2 against Liberty, 2 against the Gamecocks, 2 against the Hilltoppers. So I think he definitely can throw. Sometimes he tries to put the game on his back, and as a result, he throws the ball into coverage, and the defenses come away with it. I think that is a very exciting opportunity for this FIU secondary to walk away from this game with not 1, but maybe a couple of picks.
Yeah, Nicholas Vadiato did struggle a lot in the game against New Mexico State. Yeah, New Mexico State. Just struggled, man. There's no other way to put it. I'm trying to find the stats, first half stats for him, but they struggled big time, man, and it was bad. Like, he just couldn't get it going. I was covering that game, funny enough, and in the first half, I'm going to find it right here. Hold up. In just the first half of the game, Nicholas Vadiato had only 105 passing yards. Funny enough, New Mexico. Oh, this is second half. I'm a lie. 73 passing yards in the first half of action. I believe he threw an interception. He was just struggling overall. So I'm very intrigued to see how FIU will go up against this type of guy. Their offensive line isn't very strong. So this is the game FIU has to win. If you lose this game, it is not a good look for your program.
It's not a good look, and you can almost essentially kiss your chances at a bowl game away. Is it weird that my QB comparison for Vadiato is a young Josh Allen? Is that a weird QB comparison? Because hear me out.
Young Josh Allen was pretty good.
Hear me out. Accurate passer, right? He has a great arm, great speed when he throws the ball, and he's also a solid runner as well. He's not a quarterback you would expect to be an amazing runner, but he is. The problem with Vadiato and to an extent Josh Allen is that when the game starts to get away from him and his playmakers aren't making the plays, he'll try to force throws, and they end up getting intercepted and for the most part costing him the game, right? So Vadiato, I think at his best, he is one of the best quarterbacks in Conference USA, but at his worst, he hurts his team with turnovers. But
he could have been a
regardless.
Panther.
Yeah.
He was offered by FIU. He was offered by FIU, Coastal Carolina, Cincinnati, App State, and MTSU.
Damn, that's a lot of teams, man.
Yeah, really
So
good
let's
teams
talk,
for the most part.
so let's talk a bit about Middle Tennessee's weapons, who to keep an eye out for. Let's start with Elijah Metcalf. No, I had to check. No relation to DJ
I
Metcalf.
know. When I was doing the
Seahawks.
preview as well, I was like, let me check, man. This guy
Yeah,
related to
I
DJ?
was. He's a wide receiver. He played. But no relation. I was shocked, but still, 45 receptions for 552 yards and 5 touchdowns. He is part of the sort of trio they have, along with Holden Willis and Justin Olson. All of them have over 400 passing yards. That's a very dynamic receiving core, and it's a tough group for secondaries to stop. So it's going to be a challenge between the FIU secondary sort of maintaining the receivers and how they get open, along with, of course, with keeping an eye on Vadiato and making sure that his passes are not accurate and that they can sort of steal him and with those interceptions. But yeah, very scary receiving core Middle Tennessee has.
Yeah, Elijah Metcalf, when I was talking to Coach Mack, he really mentioned just the explosiveness that he has. He's a pretty bulky guy for the most part. He's not very big, but he's not very tall, I shall say, but he's pretty bulky. He could get up there and just make some big plays. So Elijah Metcalf is definitely a name to follow there. So I'm very intrigued to see how they'll use him in tonight's offense. He obviously has Hezekiah Masses, Adrian Cole, I want to say, is still there. CJ Christian is playing. So defense is healthy. That's huge.
It is huge. And we had mentioned it. Their running attack is definitely not their strong suit. I think statistically their running game is like one of the worst in Conference USA. That's not to say they don't have talent, because you have a player like Jaden Cradle who leads the team with 385 rushing yards. He has shown flashes of greatness, but at the end of the day, their passing attack has almost double the rushing yards. So when they usually go to the running game, we've seen that it's mainly towards the red zone or like near the goal line. They'll hand the rock off and see if they can get the touchdown that way. But how much pressure do you think FIU really has to put on this running game today on defense? Just pretty much none. Or, of course, they have to keep some eyes out, but all their focus should be on the passing attack.
If Frank Peasant gets the ball for Middle Tennessee, it's gonna be a long day. That's all I'll say. And he could go on some big chunk plays, and then that's the issue there. So you got to stop it. You got to stop it no matter what. You always got to stop the run game, just like you have to stop the pass game. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be a fun game. I'll tell you that for sure. I feel like we're going to see either a blowout on FIU's end or some type of offensive shootout.
Right. It's funny. I think, especially defensively, these two teams stack up very, very, very similar, right? They've had their struggles. They've also had their highs. And at the end of the day, FIU is competing for a bowl game. Meanwhile, Middle Tennessee has been eliminated from bowl game contention since from their loss last week.
Allows them to play spoiler, though. It allows them to play spoiler.
They could play spoiler, and the chances they get to play spoiler against a team they've had success with for the longest time. My last fun fact about the offense, by the way, they are the only team in Conference USA, and I don't know if you knew this, Kevin, the only team to give up a safety on offense the entire season for Conference USA in their game against Missouri, the SEC school. Just a neat little nugget there. And it's very strange. They had to start off the season against Alabama, by the way. That was their opening game against Alabama, and then they had to play Missouri as well. That was a rough non-conference schedule they had.
Before we move on to CUSA stuff, I don't know if you mentioned this, but overall FIU is 1-8 all time against. At away they're 1-8. They have not beaten Middle Tennessee since 2018. So
2018,
way
since
longer.
I was a freshman, Kevin.
You were a freshman, and FIU was still bowl eligible at the time and all that good stuff. So yeah, they're not very good at Johnny Floyd Stadium. So we'll see what happens. This would be obviously when talking to Coach Mack, he mentioned, I haven't taken my program to. I myself have not taken FIU to Johnny Floyd Stadium or whatever it's called. And
I think they just call it the Floyd. It's
the Floyd. Whatever, bro.
They call it's like FIU being the cage, you know?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. But Coach Mack used to play at Brentwood High School, which is the same field that FIU is playing at today. So cool story there. He's making a little homecoming. Said he'll have a lot of family out there for the game. So hopefully that he gets to show up and show out and coach a really good game.
And like I said earlier, McIntyre is no stranger to the state of Tennessee. Of course, being I believe the offensive coordinator for the University of Memphis. Again, Memphis is not really close to Nashville, but it is in the state prior to his getting a job at FIU. So quickly go over Middle Tennessee's defense a bit more because, like I mentioned earlier, FIU's defense and Middle Tennessee's defense share a lot of similarities. When it comes to sacks and interceptions, they are pretty much neck and neck with FIU. I think Middle Tennessee has 16 sacks, 6 interceptions so far. FIU has 14 sacks and also 6 interceptions so far. But again, their Achilles heel is their defense can get run on at times. There has been over 5 different games this season where the Blue Raiders have given up over 30 points. I'm pretty sure there's been 3 games where they've given up over 40. So, like you mentioned, I think an offensive shootout I think it's likely. I think we're going to see a high scoring game. Now that's what you would think. But that's why you play the game, right? On paper, this looks like both offenses are going to have their way. But I'll save it for my prediction, but I don't think that's going to be the case today.
If you want some other Miami news, true freshman Amori Williams is starting against FSU.
Oh, so Van Dyke gets the was he hurt or did they just realize?
I'm not sure. I think Van Dyke is benched.
Whatever. The most important game for a Miami school at 3:30 today is not at the Doak.
It's not. It better not be.
It is.
I'm not trying to watch FSU blow out the Canes.
Anyways, Sam Brumfield, linebacker for Middle Tennessee, leads the defense, 67 tackles. Trey Fluellen.
That Brumfield last name should ring a bell. Ricky Brumfield.
Yes.
Former FIU guy. Yeah.
Anyway, safety Trey Fluellen, I believe that's how you say it, leads the backfield, 3 interceptions.
Coach Mack really emphasized
Fluellen.
I heard the name because they have a pronunciation guide on the thing.
I wish FIU I wish every school had a pronunciation guide. But anyway, let's say Trey. He is Trey. But scary member of the backfield. All right. We kind of sped through that, but I mean these teams are evenly matched. There's not a whole lot of previewing we can do against a couple of teams that share a lot of statistics overall. So let's get into some Conference USA predictions. Now, let's quickly take a look at how we all actually before we even do that, let's take a look at the look around FIU athletics. Why don't we? Now, Kevin, help me out here. When is the selection process for the men's soccer NCAA tournament?
Monday
at 1:30?
Yes.
Monday at 1:30, we'll find out where FIU is going to be playing in the NCAA.
They're going to be playing
tournament. If that's a big if, but I think they'll make it. Feel confident. So let's get into some of the other sports around FIU athletics, starting off with men's basketball. They currently have an 0-2 record, dropping their first couple of games of the season to UCF and Tarleton State. Tarleton State game was at home. Again, shout out to everyone who watched our coverage. I think we did a great job, Kevin, with that coverage against Tarleton State. But regardless, it was a loss. And now they got to play the 13th ranked University of Miami Hurricanes in Coral Gables, Florida. Not Miami. Coral Gables at the Watsco Center. Kevin, we will be there. We will be covering the FIU team on the road as they take them on.
That'll be Alex Krutchik's first game with us.
Yeah, shout out Alex Krutchik. He'll be there. He'll write up some absolute sauce. And FIU's next home game is going to be after the Cayman Islands Classic. That's going to be on Sunday, November 26th at 6 p.m. against future Conference USA team Kennesaw State. So on to women's. Did you see the ending of that game, Kevin? That was a absolutely miraculous win for the women's basketball team, and they barely grazed by the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley Vaqueros. I want to say that's how you say it.
I saw the game winner. Yeah, impressive.
It was the game winner. I think it was like 5 seconds left. That was super exciting. 65-64. They have a 2-0 record. That's a hell of a good start for them. They are on the road on Tuesday, taking on Florida Gulf Coast. Their next home game is on Saturday, November 18th, against Coppin State University for $1 million. Where the hell is Coppin State, Kevin?
Kansas?
As funny if I have no idea. So, and you know what? I got to quickly check because Coppin State. Oh, it's in
Hey,
Baltimore. It's in
I
Baltimore.
feel like it's either Kansas or like Texas.
It's in Maryland. It's in Baltimore. So funny enough. But anyway, yeah, FIU takes on Coppin State on Saturday, November 18th.
Shout out Tyrese Chambers.
Yeah. He declared for the NFL draft as well.
He left Maryland. He quit
Yeah.
the team, and then he decides to go to the draft. We'll see
So,
where
of course,
we'll see if he gets drafted.
We had some great memories with Tyrese. Of course, we wish him the best of luck.
Really quick stat. Chris Mitchell, he has the chance tonight to become the third FIU wide receiver to reach 1,000 yards in a single season. Tyrese Chambers is the single season receiving yards holder. I don't know exactly what the number is, but Chris Mitchell would be the third with T.Y. Hilton and Tyrese to reach 1,000 yards.
That is an elite. That's an elite group to be in. Man.
He needs 180 yards.
That is an elite trio right there, bro.
If it's not this week, it's definitely next week against Arkansas.
For sure. All right, so let's take a look at the Conference USA predictions. Starting off with last week's action, that was an exciting game. South Carolina edging by Jacksonville State last week by a score of 38-28. We'll get to this week in a second. I gotta wrap up last week because we did make predictions.
We did.
Sam Houston survives against Kennesaw State 24-21. Thank goodness that the Bearcats finally get their first win. Granted, they have not had a conference win yet. We're still waiting for that. Still a good win. Liberty blows
an FBS win.
It was an FBS.
Oh no, Kennesaw State is FCS, right?
They're FCS. They're becoming FBS next year, joining the conference. So
Damn,
no FBS win, but look, a win is a win, right? They're not going to
FCS.
Yeah. Liberty blows out Louisiana Tech 56-30. New Mexico State grazes by Middle Tennessee 13-7. And Western Kentucky won a close game against UTEP 21-13. What games were you covering that week, Kevin?
Liberty and La Tech and Middle Tennessee and the other one. That one. Yeah.
All right. So let's get into this week. We have a fun slate of games. And is that former Conference USA member and now member of the Sun Belt, Old Dominion, the Monarchs?
That's such a weird scheduling. And I get FIU's playing a non-conference team next week, but that's weird, man. There's a reason why Liberty isn't ranked in the more official rankings, but yeah.
Well, that's cool, but I'm taking Liberty.
Yeah, no, me too.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, Sam Houston State versus Louisiana Tech. That just kicked off. Good for Sam Houston, but Liberty's going to play pissed because they didn't look good against Liberty, and I still think their offense is going to be good enough to take down Sam Houston. I'll say it's closer than whatever the line is, but I'll take Louisiana Tech.
Give me the Bearcats.
Okay. By the way, I forgot to mention, all of us picked the same teams last week, and all of us went 5-0.
Wow.
Me and Johnny, we all went 5-0 on picks. So that was great. So
yeah.
This could probably be the game of the day if not for that FIU game. New Mexico State at Western Kentucky. This could decide who gets to play Liberty in the Conference USA Championship game. This game.
And I think it'll be New Mexico State.
You're taking the Aggies.
Yeah, I think Western Kentucky has been a very disappointing team this year.
Been disappointing. I agree. I'll take the Aggies, but I don't feel good about it. Right there is a part of me that thinks that Western will turn this around and they'll get the dub. Man, I don't know.
Not the real game to predict.
Now the real game. Are we glossing over NFL today? We got a little bit of time.
We don't have time.
It's 3:09.
I mean, if you want to do rapid fire.
Yeah, let's do rapid fire.
Rapid fire, no explanation, NFL predictions.
All right, Germany game. Indianapolis at New England.
Colts.
Good. 1:00 games. Cleveland at Baltimore.
Baltimore,
but Cleveland makes it interesting. 1:00 Houston at Cincinnati. I'm not taking the upset, but I do think they keep it close. But I'll take the Texans, not the Texans, the Bengals. Taking the Bengals.
Yeah.
Okay. This could be the game of the day. San Francisco at Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
Yeah, give me the Jags, bro. I'm not thinking it with the Niners. Purdy's not him. New Orleans at Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Josh Dobbs is going to keep it going.
Yeah, I sadly I do think Josh Dobbs is him. So yeah, they'll get it done.
Okay.
Green Bay at Pittsburgh.
Green Bay. No, Pittsburgh.
I'll take Green Bay.
It's toilet bowl, but
It is a toilet bowl game. I'll take the Packers just so we don't agree on everything. Tennessee at Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah. All right, 4:00 games. Atlanta at Arizona.
Arizona.
I'll take it. Back. He spent all night playing Modern Warfare 3. He's not going to be ready. Give me Atlanta.
James Conner just got activated as well. So
Detroit at the LA Chargers.
Detroit.
Give me Detroit as well. Giants at Dallas. I wonder who everyone's going to take.
I'm joking. Dallas.
Dallas. Washington at Seattle.
Commanders.
Yeah, when Seattle's favored against relatively okay teams, they always drop the ball, man. Give me Washington. And then Sunday night, I don't know why they didn't flex this game. The New York Jets at Las Vegas.
Give me the Jets.
Take the Raiders. I don't know why.
Actually, I will take the Raiders. You know why?
Yeah.
That team is inspired with their new coach.
Right. And the Jets are, they're the Jets. Monday night. Again, why didn't they flex this game? I have no idea. Denver at Buffalo. Broncos country. Let's lose to Buffalo on the road in Monday night.
Yeah.
All righty then. That was a great rapid fire, Kevin. The moment we have all been waiting for. Who wins tonight? I just realized Johnny never sent us his pick, but I feel like in spirit we know who we would have taken. It would have been, FIU.
FIU wins. Keywon with 4 tutties. Dean Patterson gets his first career touchdown. Jackson McDonald gets his first career touchdown. And you know what? I'm feeling it. Chris Mitchell, 180 yards. He's breaking the record, baby. All right, now
his score would be like 50, 56 to 2, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe.
So, Kevin, kick us off. Who's winning today?
FIU, I think, will win. I think it'll be a fairly close game. Obviously, 2 offensive linemen, your best offensive lineman out, so that's not fun. But we will take FIU to win 27-21.
27-21, okay. I think it's a little disrespectful to this Panthers team that they're double-digit underdogs.
I know. That's really bad. I thought they should be favored here, but
yeah. I don't know about being favored because Middle Tennessee is the home team, but it should be like a 1 or 2 or 3 point game. I think it's like 10 and a hook or something, which is crazy.
I would take the Panthers.
You look on the offense and especially the defense, these are 2 very similar teams in a lot of categories, but I think when these 2 teams have played their best, I think FIU has looked like the better team at their best than Middle Tennessee at their best, right? So if they start off hot, if they don't, drop 21 unanswered, if they're not the sluggish team early on and they make actual adjustments in the second half, FIU is going to walk away with this win.
Score?
I'm going to say FIU 24, Middle Tennessee 20. Relatively close game.
Well, I don't know, man. I thought you were going to say 0 for a second. I was like, there's no shot, man. Don't be Jonathan there. All right, let's wrap it up.
I will say the offensive line news is very concerning, right? I think Jenkins is going to have to be schmoovin' all day, unfortunately. But I think they'll still get it done. Maybe the defense, maybe Manuel will finally get his historic forced fumble that he needs, right? Prayers up for that.
Let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up, man. Kevin, great job on the call. You're going to be back tomorrow, yes?
I don't know. I don't think so.
You don't think so? All right. Well, at the end of the day, let's watch a great football game, man. We'll be back for halftime and we'll be back for post-game. But a lot on the line today. Should be a fun matchup. And, of course, it's on ESPN+. So we'll catch y'all then. But let's watch some football and pause up.
Till the halftime show.